Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video, we're going to be looking at the yen as the yen has started to stall a little bit down at this -5 level again. We saw it recently and price did start to, or the yen did start to gain a bit of value against a couple of the currencies. But we've seen a slight drop off and another decline, and now we're back at this area. So it's making me ask the questions, what's going on with the Japanese yen in terms of just the strength of the currency, and is there any opportunities to be a seller or a buyer of this market? Because typically when a market is at an extreme, I want to be looking for the potential for that extreme to flip and move back higher, but it also does show us that this market is incredibly weak. So I've picked a couple of pairs and I've picked it against the kind of two extremes. So we've got at the top here, the Swiss franc, which is the purple line or the pink line that is kind of moving downwards. And we've got the Canadian dollar, which is the green line, which is just here. Both two strong currencies at the moment. I'm going to take a look at those pairs against the yen and have a little look at where they are positioned in the market. So first of all, though, I'm going to start off with the dollar yen because this is an interesting market, because remember, when we want to trade the cross pairs, we need to look at the majors against them. So let's say we're trading dollar yen here or looking at dollar yen here. If I want Swiss yen or so if I just put the equivalents over here, if I want Swiss yen, just give me a second to write all this out. If I want Swiss yen or CAD yen, okay, to start moving lower, what do I need to see? Well, we also have what we're essentially trading there is dollar yen versus dollar CAD for CAD yen, and obviously dollar Swiss. Pardon the poor handwriting there. Dollar Swiss versus dollar yen for Swiss yen. So essentially what we need to see is dollar yen move lower. Okay, but we also need to see dollar Swiss move lower. The reason being is because it's not the base. If we were to flip that over and we saw it as Swiss dollar or CAD US dollar, we'd want to see these markets going upwards. Okay, so that's what we need to see. Now, if we look at the sort of scope of the dollar yen here at the moment, we can see that we had this decent move to the downside, a really nice sort of extension down, but since then price has just kind of been meandering on its way back up, and it looks to me here that it looks like it's going to make another break for it to the upside. So it's still showing a little bit of weakness, which is kind of what the other cross pairs are showing us at the moment. If I was to go up into a weekly time frame, where would I want to be a seller from? Now, I would want to really be a seller back up at the highs where the selling came in the first place. And if we take a look at this daily time frame, we can see 110.72 is kind of the area of interest for me. This would be an area where I think sellers would come back into the market if price was to continue to break to the upside. So that's option number one if the yen does start to get weaker. If the yen starts to get stronger, what could we see actually? Well, we do have a little bit of a sort of channel forming here as well, a little bit of a sort of flag pattern where the market has driven to the downside, and now we're getting a consolidation within this high and low here. So I would be looking at this as a potential for the market to break out and continue down through here. Obviously, this has another the base currency of the dollar is another factor in here, because the dollar isn't particularly the weakest at the moment or strongest. It's a bit of a mixed bag for the dollar at the moment. So that's the other obvious factor here. But if the yen was to get stronger, I would expect a breakout to the downside. So if I'm looking at these markets, how would I kind of look at where price could come into? Now, if I look at CAD yen and we look at this weekly, we can see 91.20 is a level in the past where the market has found a little bit of resistance. You can see here sellers came in once or twice through here. So I would almost be expecting that to happen again. But what we need to see when price comes into these levels is some kind of reversal pattern. Now, the key reversal patterns we can look for are either head and shoulders patterns like this, or we could look for a double top pattern like this. Okay, so I would be looking for price to just move a little bit higher into 91.20 before seeing the move down. Again, CAD is very strong at the moment, yen very weak. This is a perfect sort of uptrending scenario. So if you did want to be the trend trader here, then you are looking for those buying opportunities into 91.20. Again, however, look at this nice little sort of wedge, or at least some kind of consolidation that we're getting here towards the top of this trend. The market is very much working within this sort of channel on the 4-hour time frame, and it tends to be sort of heading towards the lows of the channel rather than the highs of it. So that could also mean a breakout, and I think if price came and took these lows out here or even here at 89.28, then I would be expecting some further downside to this market. So a couple of different options there on CAD yen. Moving on to Swiss yen then. So again, just kind of looking at where the sellers came in on the weekly time frame, we can see up here around about 123.36, lots of selling pressure came from this area. So are we going to see the same thing again at that point? Well, time will tell. If we go to the daily time frame, very much got quite a bit of way to go here compared to CAD yen. So this one maybe would go a little bit higher before seeing that reversal pattern coming into play. But that is an area where I would rather be a seller of, up at 123.36. Alternatively, we just watch this daily trend. If the daily trend starts to change, and what I mean by that is if the price breaks through these lows, let me take that off because that wasn't good. Let me just put a line on there. Let's say price breaks below this current low at 119.99 or 120, we'll just round it up. If price breaks through that, then there's an obvious change of trend here. That would show us that the yen is getting stronger and that we would see that reversal coming into play. So some things to just consider there on the yen. Alternatively, you want to be on the buy side of these yen markets at the moment just because of the fact that the yen is weak. However, we could be seeing a reversal coming pretty soon. Some key levels to watch on those three charts. Hope you enjoyed the video update. I'll speak to you soon.